Old school RuneScape is quite a different game from when it first came out, so here are some of the updates that I want to see come into the game in 2025. Now, some of these may be a little controversial, but it's one of those things where it's not like I'm asking for the evolution of combat, an ability bar, a complete graphical overchange. No, some of the updates are actually really good for the game. The game wouldn't be the same without things like God Wars, Dragon Claws, the City of Prifddinas, the Max Cape, right? So some of these are pretty good. So last week, Jagex made some quality of life changes to the banking and the depositing sort of interfaces just to make it a little bit easier for players. And the most common comment I would get would be things like no gear loadouts yet, just give me the preloaded equipment inventory already, and still no loadouts. It almost seems like we're past the point of wanting to keep old school being old school, and we actually want to push updates that were very good from the past, which I'm totally okay with. Things that really don't harm the game in any way. They don't add any microtransactions or make things like too completely overpowered. I'm definitely fine with adding to the game to make it better. So I would be totally down for them adding things like bank presets to the game. I used to use these back in the day all of the time, and it really is convenient for doing whatever you want. Like, say you can have one for doing farming, you can have one for each type of boss. It just makes it very convenient. And we already sort of have them in a way with a couple of Runelite plugins. As you can see right here, I have my Araxor tab. Click on that, right? And we've got the entire gear that I have, and I can just quickly withdraw this all from the bank, put it on. We've got the inventory right here, right? So it definitely makes it pretty convenient. I've got one for my chambers too. I've got one for my farm runs. So I mean, what's the difference between clicking all this, putting it on, and just having a button that will do it for us? So the next thing I'm going to be talking about is a completionist cape. Now, another thing, a lot of people don't really want to come into the game because in the previous RuneScape, it was a very overpowered cape. I think it should be maybe purely cosmetic or have the exact same stats as, say, the max cape or skill capes in the game. I think it should just be something that players can go for. Now, the thing is, I don't really know how they would actually implement it into the game. We've got so many different things now in old school RuneScape, such as combat tasks and collection logs, which we didn't have in the past. So I really don't know what the requirements would be. I think it would be pretty dumb of them to say you need to complete the collection log and all of the combat tasks. Like, some of those things are just very hard to do, and especially things like the collection log. I don't even know if a single player has completed it. Now, let me know what you guys think down below. Maybe, for example, you have to complete a certain tier of the combat tasks, maybe get to the elite or the hard, something like that. Get a certain amount of the collection logs, right, to like reach a requirement. I think you should have to complete all the quests, all the achievement diaries, and obviously unlock all of the music tracks. I'm not sure what they could do to add some other requirements as well for the completionist cape, but I think it would be really cool to have something else to kind of go for after maxing, because some players get really bored, burnt out of the game, and just to add something else to go for, I think it would be really cool. So another thing I would love for them to add to the game would be more skilling bosses. I think skilling bosses are some of the best content old school RuneScape has ever basically come up with. And they aren't actually even taking this from the old RuneScape. I just would love to see a lot more of them come into the game. They really make skilling more engaging. I mean, sometimes you want to sit, relax, and just AFK skills, maybe, you know, watch some Netflix or play another account on this side. But what happens when you actually want to focus and that skill is very boring? We're talking like woodcutting or fishing or mining, right? they should add maybe skilling bosses for most of the skills in the game to make them very enjoyable, and they can also add some really cool unique rewards with this, and also new pets. And it's a great way to just take a break from the grind, go do something else, right? And then maybe if you're lazy one night, you could do the AFK method type thing and still be training the skill. I'm a huge fan of skilling bosses, and would love to see a lot more of them come into the game. Now, this is another one where I've talked about this in the past, and people seem to get really upset with this one. I think we should get stackable clue scrolls. I don't know. It's just one of those things where people are dropping them on the floor. They're keeping them there for days and days and days. Like, it's just kind of silly to me at this point, and I really don't see the harm in making them stackable. I mean, they're just annoying, right? You are doing Slayer, you get a clue scroll, and you have to stop what you're doing. You know what I mean? Go finish the clue scroll if you want to. And this is why I left a lot of them on the ground, because I just can't be asked to just, bank everything again, go do the clue scroll, and then gear up again. You're wasting so much time. And I'm not saying to make it maybe unlimited. People were talking about maybe making a 5 or a 10 being able to stack at once, not making it so you can just get like 1,000 hard clues, right? I'm not saying that, but I definitely think you should be able to do a couple at a time rather than doing the whole drop method. It just seems kind of silly. I don't know. I just make them stackable, man. Now, HDOS is a client, and you can actually launch it right from the Jagex launcher, and it is obviously approved by Jagex, and it basically makes the game look like it did back in 2008, 2009 era, right? And a lot of people do actually play with this client, but it's one of those things where I think Jagex should make it an option in their own client, or I guess you could do it in Runelite too, make it a Runelite plugin, so that you can have everything, you know what I mean? Say HDOS was a Runelite plugin, you could have those amazing graphics with every single Runelite plugin at the same time. I don't know, it's just one of those things where it is on a separate client, so it just feels a little clunky to me. I'm a huge fan of HDOS, I've covered it in a lot of videos, but I think it would just work better if it was in the actual old school RuneScape client or in Runelite, so you could have a lot more customization to it. I'm not sure how they could do something like that, but I really think it would be good, and Jagex has always been really good at pretty much allowing players to do what they want to do, right? So it's like, if they don't want to play with the HD, they could just leave the regular graphics on, right? So it's one of those things where I just don't like the fact that it's in a separate client. It's just a little clunky to me. Oh boy, we've got another controversial one coming up. I think we should get 120 capes in old school RuneScape. Now, they don't have to be exactly 120 capes. I've heard people talk 50 mil capes, 100 mil capes, 200 mil capes, whatever the thing is. I think there should be an incentive to kind of go past level 99. I'm not saying to actually increase the skill level to 120, but make a cosmetic, say for example, 120 cape. Be something really cool to do. I know a lot of players max and eventually just train Slayer and PVM, and then over time you get a lot of experience in, say, ranging or hit points or whatever your favorite combat style is, and maybe you're obsessed with random skills like how I'm obsessed with cooking all of the time, right? And you're doing it really for no reason besides for ranks. Now, this is an update that's definitely not going to be for everyone. There's a lot of people that don't even go for 99, so let alone 120s. But I think it should be something that is in the game, because people go for post XP all of the time, and it's an incentive to do so, and people will buy more membership, play the game longer. I don't know. I really think we've got a max cape, it's one of those things. We're getting a new skill, it's not gonna add an ability bar or anything. I really just think 120 capes would fit in old school RuneScape. Now, the last one I'm going to be talking about is making a woodcutting update. Now, I know we've got things like forestry, we've got redwoods added to the game, but pretty much other than that, I guess there's those mushroom trees too, but Other than that, I can't really think of anything that they've done to the woodcutting skill. We've gotten updates to everything, like even fire making, right? So it's one of those things where I think they should be doing something else with woodcutting. Now, I was looking back at the old updates from the pre-evolution of combat, and in 2009, they made a woodcutting rebalance update, which added ivy to the game, which was a nice AFK method where you could chop ivy off of different walls, and they added this thing called sawmill training. Now, what sawmill training was you pretty much head over to the lumber yard, which is northeast of Iraq, and you enter the back area, and you pretty much get these contracts, and you have to fill out construction orders to make planks and ship them out. You go head up to the wall, and you get an order to say make 50 of this plank, 20 of this plank. There were different types of plank. There was like curved ones, edged ones, like there's 4 or 5 different types of planks that you had to make, and you basically just picked up logs, you put them through a conveyor belt, and then you turn them into these planks and ship them out for this lady, and then you would be awarded for finishing the contract. It was a really fun, more engaging way to actually train woodcutting. And I actually did this back in the day to get my 99 woodcutting. I did a mixture of that and ivy to get myself to 99 woodcutting. Yeah, I'd be a big fan if they added something like ivy or sawmill training to the game, or even something like a woodcutting skilling boss would be amazing. Now, there are tons of other things that I want to come into old school RuneScape, but I don't want this video to go on forever. Let me know down in the comments what you think of some of these ideas, some of them if they would be overpowered, if they would quote unquote ruin the game, and also let me know if you have any other ideas that you would want to come into old school RuneScape. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the video today. I will catch you in the next one. See ya later.